"It's torn, please take it off." The Apache girl and the lone rancher. The plain stretched endlessly beneath the burning sky, dry grass bending under a restless wind. Cole Mercer rode alone, as he often did, checking fence lines that no longer truly existed. Out here, boundaries were more imagined than real. That was when his horse slowed on its own, ears twitching, sensing something wrong. Cole followed the animal's gaze. At first he thought it was a scare setup, wooden posts driven into the ground like crude crosses. But then he saw movement. A woman, hanging forward, bound tightly by ropes that bit into her wrists and ankles. Her body sagged under exhaustion, boots scraping the dirt with every shallow breath. Cole dismounted slowly, hand near his sidearm, eyes sweeping the horizon. No riders, no campfire smoke. Whoever did this was long gone or hiding far enough to feel safe. She was Apache. He could tell by her features, the beads woven into her dark hair, the torn buckskin dress clinging to her frame, torn not by time but by force. Blood streaked one arm where the rope had rubbed the skin raw. Her face was streaked with dust and sweat, yet even like this, there was something unbroken in her posture. Her head lifted slightly when she heard his boots crunch closer. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then her voice came, dry, controlled, but fragile around the edges. "It's torn," she said quietly. "Please take it off. The rope is cutting me." Cole felt a tightening in his chest he didn't expect. He had seen violence before. Men beaten, horses shot, homes burned. But this was deliberate cruelty, the kind meant to humiliate as much as harm. "I won't touch you without permission," he said, keeping his tone steady. "I'm here to help." Her eyes opened fully then, dark and sharp despite exhaustion. She studied him carefully, measuring the space between his words and his intentions. Too many men spoke kindly before doing worse. "If you help," she said, "do it quickly. They wanted the sun to finish what they started." Cole nodded. He circled the posts once more, checking the knots. Expert work. Whoever tied them knew rope well, ranch hands maybe, or men pretending to be worse than they were. He stopped beside her, pulling his knife from its sheath. The blade caught the sunlight. She flinched, but didn't look away. "Cut the rope," she said firmly, "not me." "I know," Cole replied. As he pressed the blade into the thick fiber, he felt the tension, both in the rope and in the moment. One wrong move could cut her skin. One wrong choice could turn mercy into regret. The wind picked up, carrying dust across the open land. And in that wide, silent place, with nothing watching but the sky, Cole Mercer made a decision that would follow him long after the ropes fell. The knife worked slowly through the rope, each soaring motion deliberate. Cole could feel how tight it had been pulled, tight enough to cut circulation, tight enough to make pain constant instead of sharp. The fibers resisted at first, as if even the rope had been taught not to let her go. The moment the first strand snapped, her body reacted. She sucked in a sharp breath, shoulders jerking as feeling rushed back into her arms like fire. Her fingers curled involuntarily, nails digging into her palms. Cole immediately shifted closer, ready to support her weight if she fell, but he didn't touch her yet. "Easy," he said. "It'll hurt before it gets better." She nodded once, teeth clenched, refusing to cry out. Pain to her was something faced head-on. The sun glared down mercilessly, as if testing how much strength either of them truly had. Cole glanced toward the horizon again, still empty, but emptiness out here could be deceptive. Men had a way of appearing when you least wanted them to. "They left you like this on purpose," he said quietly. "Yes," she answered. "They wanted time to be their weapon." He cut another section of rope, careful to keep the blade angled away from her skin. As it loosened, he gently took some of her weight onto his shoulder. Her body was lighter than he expected, too light for someone who looked this strong. She noticed the change in his posture. "You don't have to hold me," she said. "I know," Cole replied, "but I won't let you fall." That earned him a brief look, something like surprise, maybe even approval. "They said no one would stop," she continued. "They said the land belongs to those who take it." Cole let out a slow breath, Men like that think cruelty is power. And men like you, she asked. I think power is choosing not to be cruel when you could be, he said. The rope finally gave way completely. Her arm dropped free, blood rushing back so hard it made her gasp again. This time she couldn't stay upright. Her knees buckled. Cole stepped in instantly, steadying her by the shoulders, firm but respectful. He felt her tremble, not from fear, but from exhaustion reaching its limit. Sit, he said gently. She allowed it, lowering herself to the ground with controlled effort. Dust rose around them as she settled, breathing uneven but steadying. Cole backed away a step, giving her space again, then knelt to cut the rope around her legs. Up close he could see the rope burns clearly now, angry red lines, skin torn in places. His jaw tightened. Who did this? He asked. She shook her head. Names do not matter. They wanted to erase me. Instead, they failed. The last rope fell away. Silence rushed in to fill the space it left. She sat free at last, hands resting on her knees, head bowed, not in defeat, but in gathering strength. Cole stood, feeling the weight of what he'd stepped in to settle onto his shoulders. Out here, mercy wasn't free. It always asked for something in return. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The wind moved through the grass in slow waves, carrying dust across the open plain. The posts stood empty now, useless, their shadows stretching like reminders of what had almost been permanent. The girl, free at last, kept her hands pressed into the dirt, as if she needed to feel the ground to believe she was no longer suspended between pain and sky. Cole stayed where he was, giving her time. Freedom, he knew, could feel heavier than chains when it came all at once. Her breathing gradually slowed. When she finally lifted her head, her eyes were clearer, sharper, still tired, still hurting, but present. The earth remembers, she said quietly, when your body forgets itself. Cole nodded. My mother used to say something similar. She said the land steadies people who have been shaken. A faint expression crossed her face, not a smile, but something close. Then she was wise. Cole reached for his saddlebag and pulled out a canteen. He held it out, not too close. Water, he said, small sips. She hesitated only a second before taking it. Her hands trembled slightly as she drank, careful, controlled. When she finished, she handed it back with a nod of thanks. Your ropes, she said suddenly, they were tied by men who work with cattle. Cole looked at the discarded coils. I thought so too. They wanted it to look like punishment, she continued, but it was a message. They think fear spreads faster than truth. Cole crouched down near the posts, loosening one of them from the ground. Fear spreads, he said, but it doesn't last. People remember who helped when it mattered. She watched him closely. Is that why you stopped? Cole paused, considering the question. I stopped because I couldn't ride past and still call myself a man. That earned him a longer look this time, not suspicion, not gratitude, something deeper, recognition. Slowly she pushed herself to her feet. Pain flashed across her face, but she didn't reach for him. She steadied herself alone, shoulders squared despite the strain. I am Aiyana, she said, daughter of the Red Mesa people. Cole removed his hat briefly, a gesture of respect. Cole Mercer. She tested her legs, shifting her weight. Each movement cost her effort, but she refused to show weakness. Warriors, Cole realized, weren't born in battles. They were revealed in moments like this. They will come back, Cole said. Not today maybe, but men like that don't forget. Aiyana nodded. Neither do we. From somewhere far off, a bird cried out. Cole glanced toward the sound, hand resting casually near his belt, not threatening, just ready. You shouldn't stay exposed, he said. There's shade near my camp, supplies, bandages. She considered the offer. Trust, Cole understood, wasn't given easily, especially not to a stranger on open land soaked with old blood and older history. Walk with me a short way, she said finally. If your path stays true, I will follow. Cole tipped his hat again. Fair enough. Together, they turned away from the posts. Each step Aiyana took was slow, deliberate, but free. Behind them, the wind began to erase the last signs of the ropes. But some choices, Cole knew, were carved deeper than tracks in the dust. They didn't walk side by side at first. Aiyana moved a few steps ahead, her pace slow but deliberate, each footfall placed with care. Cole followed at a respectful distance, matching her speed, watching the land as much as he watched her. Out here, danger didn't announce itself. It arrived quietly, riding the wind or hiding behind open space. The sun had begun its slow descent, taking some of the edge off the heat, but the ground still radiated warmth. Aiyana paused once, resting her hand against a low rock, steadying her breath. Cole stopped immediately, but didn't step closer. "You don't need to pretend," he said gently. "Pain doesn't make you weak." She glanced back at him. "Where I come from, endurance is how we speak." He accepted that, without argument. After a few more steps, Cole reached into his saddlebag and pulled out a folded cloth and a small tin of salve. He held them out where she could see them clearly. "For the burns," he said, "if you want." She studied the items, then his face. Whatever she saw there must have satisfied her, because she nodded once and took them. Sitting carefully on a flat stone, she began wrapping her wrists, movements practiced despite the stiffness. "You've done this before," Cole observed. "Survival teaches quickly," she replied, "especially to women." The words carried weight, but she didn't linger on them. She finished the wraps, stood again, and tested her grip, flexing her fingers slowly. They resumed walking. Cole broke the silence after a time. "Those men, did they say anything else?" "They said I should be grateful they didn't kill me," Aiyana answered calmly. "They believe mercy is theirs to give." Cole shook his head. "Mercy isn't mercy if it's forced." She gave him a brief, sharp look. "You understand more than most." The land began to change as they walked. The grass grew shorter, the ground firmer. Low hills rose in the distance, their shadows stretching long and dark. Cole knew this stretch well. His camp wasn't far now. "If you don't wish to stay," he said, "I can point you toward water. There's a creek east of here." "I know the creek," Aiyana said. "I also know it's watched." That made Cole stop. "Watched by whom?" he asked. "Men who think pain makes people forget," she replied. "They are wrong." A chill ran through Cole, not from fear but from understanding. This wasn't finished. It never was. They walked the last stretch together more closely now, not out of comfort, but necessity. When a gust of wind kicked up dust, Aiyana stumbled slightly. Cole reached out instinctively, steadying her elbow. She stiffened for half a second, then allowed it. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You don't owe me anything," Cole replied. She met his eyes. "Perhaps not, but I will remember." As the outline of Cole's camp came into view, canvas, fire ring, tether post, the sky deepened toward amber. Night would come soon, bringing cooler air and harder choices. Aiyana stopped and looked toward the hills beyond the camp. "My people are near," she said, "close enough to feel what happened." Cole nodded. "Then we won't be alone." For the first time since he'd found her, Aiyana allowed herself a small, steady breath. The walk forward had begun. The sun slipped below the horizon, painting the plains in deep amber and long shadows. Cole's small camp sat tucked against a gentle rise, its canvas tents catching the last light, the smell of dust and horse sweat mingling with the crisp evening air. He moved quietly, gathering kindling while keeping an eye on Aiyana. She knelt near the fire ring, carefully arranging small rocks around a cluster of dry sticks. Her hands still bore the marks of rope burns, and the wrappings had darkened in the fading light. Cole noticed, but didn't comment. Respect, he had learned, often spoke louder in silence than words ever could. "Sit," he said, motioning to a flat stone near the fire. "Rest while I get a flame going." Aiyana hesitated, then settled. Her eyes, dark and alert, scanned the horizon even here, even now. "You trust too easily," she said softly, almost as an observation to herself rather than a comment to him. Cole chuckled quietly. "Perhaps. Or perhaps I've learned that waiting for danger to strike while turning your back doesn't help anyone." She studied him, measuring truth in his tone. Finally, she allowed herself to relax, leaning back slightly. "Then I will observe while you work," she said. The first sparks caught, and a small flame blossomed. Cole fed it carefully, coaxing the fire into life. The dancing light played across Aiyana's face, highlighting the strong lines of her jaw, the dark curve of her brows, the way her eyes reflected the flames. Despite everything, she seemed almost serene, grounded in the moment. "Water," Cole said, retrieving a canteen from his pack. "Drink slowly, you need it more than you realize." She accepted it with a nod, taking measured sips. The silence stretched comfortably for a few moments, broken only by the crackling fire and distant night calls of the plains. "Will they come back?" she asked, not looking at him, eyes fixed on the horizon where the sky darkened to purple and gold. "They might," he admitted, "but if they do, they won't find you alone." Her hands tightened around the canteen. "My people are near," she said. "They will protect me, but tonight, you've been the only one who did." Cole nodded, studying her profile. "I didn't do it for gratitude. I did it because someone had to." She gave a slow, deliberate nod. "Perhaps that is why I feel less afraid now." A quiet understanding settled between them. Two strangers in a harsh land, their fates briefly intertwined by choice and circumstance. The firelight painted long shadows across the ground, and the wind whispered through the grass, carrying the scent of sage and dust. "I will remember this," she said finally, voice steady. "Not just what you did, but how you did it." Cole shrugged slightly. Actions matter more than words always. She allowed a small, almost imperceptible smile, the first Cole had seen since he found her on the posts. "Then your actions speak clearly." Night fell fully, cool and quiet, and the two of them sat by the fire, keeping watch over the open plains. For the first time in days, Aiyana felt the weight of the ropes lift, not just from her wrists, but from her mind. And for Cole, the quiet companionship, however temporary, reminded him why he never rode past those who needed help. Some acts were small, some choices invisible to the world. But out here, beneath endless skies and endless dust, even small acts could change the course of a life. Dawn broke slowly over the plains, soft light spilling across the hills, turning the grass gold. Cole awoke before Aiyana, the quiet stillness of the camp pressing in. He could hear her breathing steady, even in sleep, a rhythm that seemed determined and unyielding, just like the woman herself. He took a moment to glance at her, at the marks of the past days still faint on her wrists and arms. Rope burns, bruises, dust and dirt, but no sign of surrender. She had survived, and he had kept his promise. Coffee brewed over the small fire, the aroma cutting through the cool morning air. Cole offered her a cup when she stirred, and she accepted without a word, nodding only. The silence between them was comfortable now, filled with the unspoken understanding of two people shaped by harsh land and harsher deeds. "They'll come for you again," Cole said finally, eyes on the distant hills where the sun kissed the horizon. "But not today, and maybe not for a long time." Aiyana took the coffee in both hands, letting the warmth seep into her. "Perhaps, but today I walk free, and today you have reminded me that not all men are the same." Cole shrugged, keeping his gaze on the distance. "Not all of them, but some of us do what's right anyway." For a long moment, they drank in silence. Then Aiyana rose, testing her legs carefully. Cole stepped aside, giving her space. Her shadow stretched long across the dust, strong and unbroken. "I will head east," she said, pointing toward the low hills that marked the start of her territory. "My people are near. I need to return before the day grows too hot." Cole nodded. "You'll make it. The land is on your side." She studied him for a moment, her dark eyes catching the light. "And you," she asked softly, "will you stay here alone?" "I always do," he replied. "But now, maybe I will ride a little farther, see what's coming over the horizon." Aiyana allowed a small, rare smile. "Then perhaps our paths will cross again." Cole tipped his hat, the gesture both farewell and respect. "Perhaps," he said. She began walking slowly at first, then picked up her pace, careful but steady. Every step carried the weight of the past days, but also the freedom of choice reclaimed. Behind her, Cole mounted his horse, watching as her figure moved across the plains, blending with the landscape she had always known. The wind swept the camp clean, carrying away the traces of struggle, but leaving the memory intact. He had saved a life, yes, but more than that, he had witnessed courage, dignity, and the refusal to yield. And that was a lesson he would carry long after the dust settled. Aiyana disappeared over a low rise, heading toward safety, toward her people, toward the life she had fought to protect. Cole watched for a few more minutes, then turned his horse toward the open plains. His ride would be long, but the horizon always promised something new, a reminder that even in a harsh world, choices mattered. The posts where she had been left behind stood empty now, shadows stretching into the morning light. But out here, freedom was measured not by chains or posts, but by the courage to stand, to walk, and to live unbroken. And somewhere between the plains, the hills, and the endless sky, two lives had intersected, leaving marks not of pain, but of resilience, and a story that would not be forgotten.